you go.
2 more plays left. Luai goes to Galvin. Out the back, Buller. Straightens things up nicely. And Taruva off the right scores the first points for the Tigers.
Leave it. Isuzu D-Max replay. Goes the line. Half to 5'8 to fullback. It's the name of the game. Get in the field position and let your best and creative players play together.
As thoughts on that try?
Yeah, it was really good to see once we got some shape when we actually were able to get the numbers on the outside. Sania cutting through on the inside as well, beating a couple, putting the ball down. Very good try to get the ball rolling. And I think kind of obviously once we scored, like Rob said, the team scored was probably going to go on with it a little bit. We cut down the errors after that and kind of got into the game a little bit easier. Found it easier going, and we're having a pretty good time with it. But yeah, it all started with that. I think the first pass was a little bit of the pass from to Buller, or was it to Buller or from Buller, was a little bit sloppy and out the front of the player who caught it was Galvin, and I mean, yeah, it was really good catch by Galvin, good pass on, and yeah, had them well and truly cooked.
Yeah, it was actually, so just on that try, you just notice the subtlety of Jerome Luai. So Jerome Luai gets the ball and looks inside towards Bolle. We'd been turning the ball inside when we'd been in the red zone previously. Looked inside just to hold up the defence, gave it out to Galvin. Galvin did a really nice face ball to Buller, slightly in front of him. As Aaron said, he showed good hands, and then it just went through the hands out to Taruva, who scored in the corner. Really much deserved try. The boys were really happy about it.
I just solved the fucking sound problem. I worked out what I did.
Mate, we can't have these sound problems every week, mate. Seriously.
So, idiot me. So there was an echo. I was trying to work it out. I had the peek behind the curtain, the camera pointing at us. The mic was on the camera and on the mic. So we're going through the camera and through the mics.
Can you hear Aaron now, Terry?
The Riff all the way in Miami. Yeah, Riff all the way in Miami's saying it sounds good.
He's saying his mic isn't great. Anyway.
And as is?
Oh, maybe on the live stuff it is. Oh, on that as well?
Yeah,
okay.
Right. Okay. Well, the comments are saying it's all good now because I just turned
well, if you want, Aaron, we can share this microphone.
No, give us some. Well,
I'll get to that later on. I'll give you some stats. Our microphone works 3 weeks out of 10.
Right. I'll play try number 2, and then I'll give as
our microphone success rate is as good as the Tigers' record the last few seasons.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Here's try.
Sounds number good now.
2.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Galvin cuts one out. Toa again. Oh, what a run! Stop it, Toa! And the referee says it's all good. Momentum gets him there for the second try in that corner.
I think he's good.
And even though the ball carrying arm comes into contact there, that's not a double movement.
No, momentum takes him over.
That's the try.
Yeah.
Righto. Try number 2. Try to Stafford Toa. That try. It's that was one of the main parts of the clip or the video of us reacting, talking about whether his knees were up or down.
God, how many times did I say his knees are up, his knees are up?
Yeah.
It was so embarrassing watching that over.
And as I said when we were on the stream,
willing it into existence.
Against the Knights, we were a pubic hair off a foot on the sideline getting us to win. This week, we were a couple of pubic hairs off a knee cancelling a try. So I guess take the pubes where you can and where you can't, I guess. I didn't say that exactly like that. That just came to my head then. But, Stafford Toa, what a try as.
I didn't actually celebrate that one live because my first thought was he had gone out, plus he promoted the ball, so potential double movement. And I think that was what had the Parramatta fans booing when it was up at the video replay and they were checking it. Obviously, it was awarded on field, so it was going to be hard to turn around without, obviously, clear evidence that the knees had touched ground. And, yeah, well done to staff for keeping them up. And then, obviously, a little bit of contention over the ball. If it was, it was promoted, but I don't think it's technically considered being promoted because the player still had momentum.
Correct.
And they were sliding in. So, like, even if he didn't promote it, he was sliding in and it was still going to get planted anyway. I think just promoting it a little bit gave him a little bit of, or bought him a little bit of time to actually plan it before he went out, because had he not done that, he probably goes out of the field of play and it's a no try. So yeah, really good try. I was really happy when we got it awarded. I felt like it was potentially one of those 50-50 ones that often doesn't go our way, and on this occasion it did.
We had a spring in our step, Josh, as soon as we got that first try. And look, on face value, you see Jack Bird hold up the ball for Lockie. Lockie does a beautiful face ball to Toa and he goes and scores. But if you remember from the previous set, the dummy half for Parramatta, number 14, I think his surname Smith, he lost the ball over the line. Yeah, he lost the ball over the line. We got a 7-tackle set. And there's just a couple of things that if anyone watches the game again, so Bird takes the first hit up, but then Skelton takes the second hit up. Watch how quick Skelton plays the ball. He plays the ball so quickly that Talon De Silva can just take off, make his meters. Then on the next tackle, Tyrrell May has a hit up and offloads to Buller. It was a beautiful team try. Like that, the actual tackle that we scored was just nice work. But if you see what came into that lead up, what caused all that to happen, it was that lead up to it. It was the quick play the ball from Skelton, who played the ball as fast as I've seen anyone play a ball, which gave Talon that room to, shoot from dummy half because the markers were scattered. Just a really good team try to work it from our own end and score basically on the fourth tackle. Absolutely brilliant. And yeah, you kind of thought, okay, we've hit our mojo now. We're ready to go.
Righto, let's go to try number 3. How good is it when we have multiple tries to? It's more work.
We're not even halfway done yet. That's an exciting thing.
Yeah, beautiful.
Strap yourself in. Here's try number 3.
Volkman pumps it as far as he can inside the 10 for Jareem Buller. Gets around Kaltonga comfortably. What a return this is. Jareem Buller has support now. Dewey on the outside. They want to kick back inboard, and Dewey provides it for Galvin. They're queuing up here. How's the bounce? Sits up beautifully. Oh, the Tigers! They are on! One of the tries of the year. It starts with Buller and finishes with Galvin.
Righto. This might be my favourite. I don't know about try ever, but definitely my favourite try. As I'm trying to think of a West Tigers try that I enjoyed more than that one. Maybe because against Parramatta and I hate them. Maybe because it's. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Can you think of a try? A more exciting, sort of tricky sort of play from the Tigers. It's just like the bounce of the ball doesn't seem to ever go our way. But this one and the try later, a little. I mean, it's good work by Skelton for the next one before we get to that one. But yeah, it's just the bounce of the ball up nice for Lockie, a perfect banana kick from Adam. It just seems, touch wood, the ball is starting to bounce our way as.
Yeah, this try, just first of all, Jareem Buller, this would have given him oodles of confidence going into the rest of the season from his first game back after a bit of a lengthy layoff. But, I mean, the Parramatta line was absolutely shot to bits off their kick chase. They were awful in their kick chase there. Nice, easy, a couple of steps, and he had them gone. Gets it to Dewey on the outside. Runs into a bit of a dead end like he did earlier in the half, but this time the kick goes infield instead of over the top, and there's like 3 players waiting for it. Skelton, Galvin, and I think
Talon De Silva.
And Talon was the other one. Yeah, I thought there was a third.
Yep.
And it sits up perfectly for him. I couldn't believe it. Like, as soon as the ball got out to Adam, and I saw some clear space in front of him, I got up. I was yelling like an absolute maniac because they were literally running straight in my direction, like running directly towards me. And yeah, as soon as the ball was kicked in field for Galvin, I knew he was home. And this was a beautiful moment. And I think right on halftime as well, obviously you put out the post on the socials every time we concede a try in the last 5 minutes of the first half. And this time it was nice to be on the other end of that. And it just completely took the air out of the Parramatta players' sails and the fans as well. Like most of the place was pretty quiet at that point, nice. Except for the little pockets of Tigers fans all over the place. It was great. I was really excited. This was a beautiful team try.
And Rob, we took a clean sheet again into halftime.
Yeah, look, that try, straight up, guys, put that on loop for the rest of my life. I don't want to watch any other fucking try for the rest of my life.
Well, if someone mentioned Pat Richards in the grand final.
No, this is better. I know that one is a grand final. I know it was an amazing flick pass. This just was so good. And obviously, like a little bit biased to have seen, two of my favourite players, link up in terms of Dewey and not discounting Buller's work. Without Buller's work, it wouldn't have happened to start with. But for Adam to do that on the run, hold that ball away, he did kick it with the outside of the right foot. Looked like it was going to end up being an awkward bounce, but it was a room service bounce for Lockie Galvin. And yeah, I was quite moved, actually. I think you probably noticed after we scored and carried on like idiots, I had tears in my eyes. I was just like, okay, this is what we need.
Yeah.
Great try. And that, you're talking about the tries before halftime, guys. That was 2 tries in the last 5 minutes of the half, maybe even less.
The curse.
And then we got a try, as you're about to mention, with Skelton in the first 5 minutes of the second half. So maybe things have turned around a little bit.
Just before you move on to that, Josh, so quick question for you then, Rob. How does that try compare to your favourite try from last season?
Better.
You think that was better than...
What was the best one last year?
I like the Buller try under the post last year against Parramatta.
The one on Easter Monday after Lockie came back from the bin.
My favourite try of last year, Alex Seyfarth at Leichhardt. Shouts to
the short ball from Latu.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
where after he scored the try, he was tackled by his own captain.
Yeah. That was probably my favourite.
Tackled by his own captain.
Favourite try last year.
But it was, even the commentators who were pretty livid, pretty filthy on us all game, they appreciated how brilliant the try was. And I think everyone at home would have. And to be fair, I think every supporter base except Parramatta would have loved that try. It was a great try.
Vossi was the one commentating on Fox, and that's the sort of try that Vossi absolutely loves. Like, that is the Vossi's favourite sort of try to call, other than a big forward like a Carrigan or a Twal or something like that. Like, Vossi loves those length of the field tries that involve multiple members of the spine, a fancy kick.
Yeah, we're talking about fancy kicks. Try number 4.
Seyfarth has to help out at dummy half. Luai steps around the advancing Hopgood. It is the last. Tries to invent something, and it might just work out here. Bird. A diving Iyongi. And a second kick from Galvin to space. How's the bounce? Skelton goes under his man and scores. What an extraordinary try. The Tigers are on fire at Coffin.
Yeah, so Jerome Luai, this is what he does. He makes something out of nothing, little grubber kick through, misses everyone, and then Lockie has the peace of mind. You thought it was 6 again. To Rob, you see it on the
I did say if we're not mistaken. I did say if I'm not mistaken.
But no, the ref, it was still last tackle, and Lockie had the presence of mind to put a perfect little kick, and the catch by Skelton. It's just, I said it, I can't remember when, I've said it on the show either late last year or early this year. The thing about this team is it's the 1%ers. There's certain catches, bounce of the ball. Like Skelton, that was not an easy catch by Skelton. And I don't know if it's because of his talent or just the team, the confidence in the team at the moment. But the way he caught that ball on like a baseball slide and then picked it up and slammed it over, it's those little 1%ers. And fingers crossed it's not just one of those days. Hopefully it's just one of those eras where we just have all those little 1%ers where we were so close in previous years to scoring a try or stopping a try or whatever. It just seems like that's different now. There's a confidence in this team. There's this amount of skill and talent in this team that we're going to score more tries like this year.
Take that scoreline out of Sunday. If you just watch the game without knowing the score, the West Tigers had numbers everywhere, whether it was in defence, whether it was in attack, whether it was with kick chase, like Aaron mentioned for Lockie's try on halftime. There were 3 blokes there, Skelton, Talon and Lockie. Luai planned to run the ball on the last tackle there. He took on Hopgood. Hopgood kind of just halted Luai's momentum. He quickly thought, okay, I'll put a little grubber kick through. And then with that grubber kick and chasing that grubber kick, Jack Bird's running through. Jack Bird actually puts off the fullback. Lockie picks up the ball, does a great cross kick. And then even I felt like there was someone else out there near Skelton anyway. I felt like we had 2 guys out there almost, not just one. So we just did everything in numbers. And as you said, the way Gerald Skelton just slid in, just made sure he secured the ball first before getting up and going over the line. happy days. Like it's you earn that thing. If you're putting yourself in those positions all the time, you're getting numbers to the ball everywhere, whether it's attack, defense. We'll talk about the resilient defense later in the game, even though it's not a try. That's the sort of thing we want to see from our team. And eventually, I keep saying, you trust that process, the result will take care of itself. And that's what pleased me the most about what we did. Sure, some of the attack was clunky, at times, but, the guys are just putting in that effort in every single play, and there always seems to be numbers there. So, again, that might have looked like a fluke, but it's no fluke when everyone's committed to winning and doing their best.
Hashtag trust the process. Shouts to Paul George and Joel Embiid. As thoughts on that try?
Yeah, like much the same as what Rob said, and what you said as well. The bounce of the ball going to Skelton for that try. I wasn't sure what happened live because it looked like a little bit all over the place because it was down the other end of the field from me. I would have sworn that Bird had touched it somewhere in that swan dive that he took, and then a beautiful little kick by Lockie and great bounce. Like that is the sort of try that I think the Tigers were kind of famous for back in the glory days. You guys would say, like, just sort of ad lib, just cut off the cuff, off the wall, sort of craziness.
Yeah, Benji football. Yeah. Now we were very spoiled in the Benji Marshall era. Someone mentioned in the comments before the Cronulla Sharks 2005 step,
of course,
back into Paddy Richards over to Daniel Fitzhenry. Benji created some unbelievable tries back
Magic.
then. And I think Jerome Luai, I don't think he's anything really like Benji in the way he plays, but he is like him, that he can just create something out of nothing like he did with that. And it's just, week one, everyone was saying he was underwhelming. Give him Appy, give him Buller, and happy.
Watch the magic happen.
Watch the magic happen. Right, speaking of magic, Sanuya Taruva.
Josh, just before you move on to the fifth try, I think there's a really important part of this game that we need to talk about, and that was the 5.5 minute stand defensively on our goal line that Parramatta had, where I think they had like 6 sets in that period.
Yeah, for sure.
Did not break through us. We gave away, I think, maybe 3 penalties, 2 or 3 6-agains.
A line dropout.
Line dropout, an error. Yeah, and we just kept on hanging in there, turning them away. And I think that sort of thing has been missing from this team. Yes, they didn't have Mitchell Moses, and yes, that means their attack's probably not as straight or as crisp as they'd want it to be. But they still threw a fair bit at us. Like they had some shape. They threw some plays at us, and we turned them away every time. And watching that happen at my end of the field, right in front of my eyes, I think beyond the result, that little period of the game is what made me the proudest to be a Tigers fan that day.
That was thrive and strive video stuff, what we saw there. And that's you see what they do in those 3-day camps, and they brought it onto the field. It was heroic, like some of that defense on the line. And I remember in particular, Jack Bird absolutely smashing a couple of guys on our own line that were trying to hit the ball up, guys bigger than him, and he was absolutely just rocking them and stopping them in their tracks. It was great to see, and that whole 6-minute thing actually came off one of our errors when Samuela tried to pass it to Buller and they weren't kind of in sync. But again, for us to weather that storm, because had they got a try there and a goal, it would have been 22-6. I was glad we didn't give away a sin bin, because if we did give away a sin bin, then, we're stripped of numbers and they can put on a few tries in 10 minutes. But as Aaron said, no, it was a really, really good stand, but we saw plenty of that throughout the game.
Loyal listener Emmanuel said in the comments, let's not forget the opposition is not a contender. Yeah, they're not a contender, but I mean, how many teams are contenders this year?
Well, you can only beat who you've got to beat. And how do we know they're not contenders? I mean, okay, they've been pretty ordinary. What have they conceded? 88 points in 2 games as opposed to our 16. But we're not contenders, allegedly. So
I would argue the Knights are probably a top 8 team this year, and we kept them to 10 points. So
they've played 2 games, though. And take our West Tigers caps off. They've only played the West Tigers and the Dolphins, who were like near the bottom of the ladder. Let's see what the Knights do against better teams. And again, they've got the Gold Coast this week, so that it's not exactly another top-notch team, but it's good for the Knights because they can build up a bit of confidence. So when they do take on the better teams, they can maybe give them a shot of beating them.
All right, try number 5. Let's do it.
Got to say, Dream Bull is through.
and finds Taruva for the corner. He's over again, Sania Taruva. Stand by for the celebration. The Tigers are roaring.
With a shift off the scrum, I got to say, it was poor defence. Really poor defence.
Yeah, Dream Buller, the mastermind behind this one, the second one for Sania Taruva. How good was he on Sunday? As?
You go.
Yeah, Dream was great. I loved watching. It was clear that we missed him a lot in round one, and I think we potentially win that game if he's playing. Take Appy out of it for a second. A lot of people are saying if Appy and Dream play that game against the Knights, we win it. I think there's even a chance that we win it if Appy doesn't play and Dream does, because Dream, he straightened up our attack a lot. Obviously, Appy leads a lot of the run plays, tries to find the tight defenders, but Buller out the back, he's a lot crisper than Mason, who's still a little bit fresh. But this try, how good was it? We tried this exact scrum play 3 or 4 times against the Knights. It didn't work at all. We finally make it work when we've got our first choice fullback playing this game.
And it was nothing special. It was just as soon as Buller got it, he accelerated. He drew 2 players towards him. He does a flick pass to Taruva, and Taruva finishes the try. And I only noticed watching my first and only replay today, the claw across the chest. That's a pretty.
It's literally in the thumbnail of this episode.
Yeah, so I'm kind of loving what he's doing there. Look, great try and a great finish from Taruva, but that was really all Dream Buller. And look, I should say the one thing Adele did say on Sunday in our podcast that really resonated with me, and I actually think it was probably the most poignant comment of the podcast. He said, "I don't know what this game looks like without Dream Buller." And it's so true, but I'm not underestimating Appy's return as well, because Adele goes into that.
Well, that's what we're all talking about.
It certainly affects our spacing. By having Appy there, you're getting, Parramatta's spacing just a little bit narrower. They're worried about more of his creativity around the ruck, but that was first class Dream Buller on Sunday. Could not get a better game from him.
Well, last week all the talk was about Appy Coruscant, pretty much. Was saying, Appy Coruscant's back, and very few people were mentioning Dream Buller. It's just I think people forgot a little bit.
Very few people were mentioning Stafford Toa. Stafford Toa was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. We had this is the one game where I honestly think that 7 or 8 players could have been man of the match, and it's just they're unlucky that 7 or 8 other blokes just played off their faces that day. I could easily have 8 or 9 people in my points this week. It was such a great performance all around. There were so many stars in that team.
Speaking of the claw, Rob, you might remember round one, it was the new thing they tried pre-game instead of the scarves, the show your stripes scarves. And I didn't think it caught on a lot at Campbelltown. I think watching Taruva do what he did and incorporating that into his try celebrations, I think the claw is going to catch on a little bit more.
It'll catch on now. I never saw that at Campbelltown.
It'll catch on at Campbelltown now.
Nervous about the game, but yeah, that was good to see.
And what's better than 2 tries?
3 tries.
3 tries. So here is the 6th and final try, and the third to Sania Taruva.
Galvin now. Buller already creative out here. Fainu through. Taruva hunting a hat-trick, and he'll score it. Execution down the right-hand side has been elite. The claw has come out again.
The claw has come out again. Racking up 6 tries. As I don't know if you get the stat in front of you, how many times have we scored 6 tries in the last couple of years? You probably might have to look that up. Sorry to give you an assignment. Literally mid-show.
Yeah, mid-show. Definitely Cronulla round 2. We scored 2 tries there. We definitely got at least 6 tries against Canberra, probably 8 at Campbelltown. And I'm going to say not much more than that off the top of my head, but there's probably another game.
Manly, I think we got 5, maybe 6.
I don't know, but yeah.
While I'm trying to look that up, tell us about that try anyway, to the final one to Sania. Set up.
You go.
Okay. Well, again, it was, the Galvinator passing it out to Buller. He drew a couple of players, gave it to Samuela Fainu, which created a 2-on-1. And, can't underplay Samuela's rolling this, through a nice dummy, got through the gap, and then just gave Taruva a straight run to the line, who scored and got the claw out again. And we're starting to think this is potentially 40 or 50 points. There's still, 9 or 10 minutes to go, but a great try. And as West Tigers fans, we know it's not over at sort of 28-0. We knew it was over at 32-0. So it was time to relax and enjoy the party. So it was really good.
So we actually did it a couple of times last year. So against Canberra, we put 8 on them.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yep.
Yeah.
We cracked 40 for that game.
6 against the Cowboys at Leichhardt and still lost 48-30. And we put 6 tries on Manly, of course. The year before that, we put 11 on North Queensland. That was a hell of a night, but that was the only time we got more than 4 that year. In 2023, we put 7 on Canterbury at Leichhardt. That was a good game that we were at. But that was the only time in that whole season that we got over 5 there. Or back to 2021, 2020 is a bit of a write-off. A couple of games in there. But 6 tries. It's not a common thing as a West Tigers fan. So a great day
Another thing that hasn't really gone our way in recent seasons, except for like that Cowboys game, is the goal kicking. We had 5 tries, all scored in the outer edges of the field. I think the last one kind of was brought in a little bit, and that was one of the misses. But the sideline conversions, there were 4 of them. 4 of them, and he converted 3 out of 4, Adam. So goal kicking, massive bugbear for us as fans over many a year, and Adam's absolutely nailing it at the moment.
And just before I don't know if you're going to talk more about the game other than the tries or not. Are you?
Well, we're going through. We got plenty. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to mention, everyone's putting shit on us for letting a try in the last minute. I actually want to praise blokes for the last minute. I want to praise Royce Hunt for that monumental effort to stop Lomax scoring a try. I want to praise Taruva for the great tackle that he did on that sideline as well that made Royce's chase great. And I also want to, not because Scott's here supporting the Adam Dewey Club, but the full diving length tackle that Adam Dewey did on the guy who gave the try assist to the winger for Sean Russell for Parramatta. Even though he ended up scoring, just the effort plays in that, you can't say, oh, bugger, that sucks, or it's the Tigers. That was great play. Give credit where credit's due. There was a lot of great effort in all that stuff. Sometimes it doesn't go all your way, but if you keep trying for 80 minutes, you might get 32 things right and you might get 6 things wrong. And, that was the scoreline, 32-6. So just try and be a little bit positive, even on those effort plays, where they do score. There was a lot of effort that went into that, and you could see how disappointed the boys were that we did concede a try in the last minute, which I love that. I love that they hated that so much. Like the old Tigers said, oh, who gives a shit? Let them score 18 points. But there's just a good attitude there. Might not reflect every week, but if we've got that mental attitude going into every game, you're going to come out winning more than losing. So it's really encouraging for the rest of the year.
Just realised we're 7 slides out of 31 at the moment. We're 50 minutes in. Strap yourselves in, guys. Make a cup of tea. We're not going anywhere.
Get the popcorn.
We just won't do pods when we lose, okay? How about that? Let's just chop these up into 3-part wins.
Up, yeah. We'll just replay it if we lose next week. Right, press conference time. I've got a few clips of Benji Marshall and what's his name? Jerome Luai in the press conference. And annoyingly, where I have all my sounds aren't sorted alphabetically, so I've got to go on a treasure hunt. Is number 1.
It's rugby league. You just don't know, But what I was proud of is we asked for a way to play today, and we talked about win the game early and score the points late. And I thought we adopted that mindset really well, got them into a grind, and then just kept applying pressure. And I thought all our spine, our leaders, after last week was a bit scrappy, they combined really well today.
Do you reckon last year you would have maybe, if you'd gone out in front, let them come back into it?
I think about last year.
And what do you reckon of your 1-6?
I love that part at the end there. He gets asked, Benji Marshall gets asked, do you think we would have lost that game last year? He said, I don't care about last year. Good signs, Rob.
He has to say that, and it's good. You can't carry that baggage, that mental scar tissue with you. Nothing matters. I mean, you celebrate the win, and as of today, we're recording this Wednesday night. Last Sunday doesn't matter now. Everything is just about the Dolphins and what we do against the Dolphins.
Matters to me.
It's a new week. But no, we've done that. We've won the game. It's in the bank. Great work. Got to back it up again this week.
100%.
Rest, recover, prepare for the game, and go against a team that's going to be hungry to get their first win of the year too.
Another clip from Benji Marshall.
Yeah, I was even the 14, 1, 6, 7, 9 and 14. I thought they really got us home this week. They're really clear with the plan. They executed everything we asked for. Sure, there are moments we can be better, but it's their first game as a proper spine. So a lot to build on there. We're not going to get carried away. We've won one game, so still a bit of improvement. A little bit. We're still tinkering with the way we want to play. I thought last week as a coach I was probably guilty of not letting them play enough. Probably trying to play too conservative, and then had a good look in the mirror and thought about what our strengths are, and having Jerome and Jareem back to partner with these guys, I thought they did a real good job.
So Benji there, saying that he was a bit too conservative last week. As obviously, look, they were pretty conservative to start. Were they conservative to start the game, or were they just shit to start the game? They're making a lot of mistakes, but yeah, they did start to. And Adele said that Sunday night that the sweat was probably a factor as well with the ball. But yeah, do you think there was much more? Benji kind of unleashed them a little bit more in this game.
In some ways, he unleashed them. Some players, he simplified their game. Lockie, for example, basically simplified his game, focused on a few different areas, and he absolutely killed it. But, I mean, yeah, I think the start of the game, like Rob said before, sloppy, no doubt about it. I agree with what Adele said about the sweat on the ball being probably one of the main factors of why the game was so sloppy. And I think a lot of the criticism from the commentators and etc. about the start of the game, a little bit less warranted considering the conditions, because no one really talked about the conditions other than the fact that it was hot. But when you're out there, obviously the players are out there in the sun for most of the game, surrounded by people who are radiating a lot of body heat. It's like a little cauldron in there, and that's definitely going to make it harder for them. But yeah, as for Benji, I think some players had their game a little bit more simplified. Others were let or allowed to play their own way a little bit more, and it seems to be the thing that worked the most.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it took both teams time to get used to the conditions with that greasy ball, and you could see pretty much after that first 20 minutes, both teams were pretty good with the ball after that, because the majority of handling errors were in that first 20 to 25 minutes. We never saw any block shapes against the Knights, so there was a clear difference in running a little bit more shape. There seemed to be a deliberate decision to turn the ball inside as much as we could early on, which obviously got Parramatta spacing a bit closer, and then we started spreading it out wide later. And the big thing for me, I thought Jerome Luai was halfback on the weekend and Lockie Galvin was 5'8". I felt the week before I didn't know who was 7, who was 6. I thought they weren't used to each other. They were getting in the way of each other a little bit. I felt like Tristan Hope and Talon Da Silva were a bit confused in terms of like who was calling for the ball, and it didn't help them very much as to what was going on. Lockie Galvin had an unbelievably brilliant game, and I'm not underselling what Jerome Luai did on Sunday as well. His effort, his leadership, his tenacity. There was a lot of things he did that are so good. And again, we talk about that, stand in the last, that 5-minute period of goal line defence and the Royce Hunt chase. I mean, Jerome Luai set that standard against Newcastle when he did the chase against Kalen Ponga and batted the ball down. That was going to be a certain try. So Jerome Luai is leading the way, and the boys are following, and it's a really good thing to see. But yeah, definitely this week I felt Jerome was definitely trying to be more of a first receiver. It didn't stop Lockie from having a couple of kicks, and the kicks that he did were fantastic. They were like bombs 5 metres out from the line. Just a really good performance, guys. And as Adele said on Sunday, I hope I'm not spoiling it for anyone that hasn't listened to it already. We're not even at 25 to 30% with our attack, and we got 32 points. So it might not have been against a great team, but let's see what that attack looks like in about 8 to 10 weeks from now.
100%. Let's hear from Jerome. Speaking of Jerome.
It was enjoyable day. And like Brad said, we're finding our style and how we want to play, but that combination is just beginning, and we're going to keep looking forward to growing that throughout the year. You'll see it progress throughout the year. But we're still searching for it. But that's off the back of hard work, and that is our foundation. So as a spine, we do want to play footy, but we want to front load our one.
Yeah, that comment from Jerome kind of fits perfectly with what Rob said then. But yeah, Jerome and Lockie's combination, it's literally second week. It's only going to get better and better and better, and hopefully for many years to come.
Yes, second week together and first week with the full spine, and the full spine is a key factor to how teams play in the modern game. And I think it shouldn't be understated that, yes, the combination's going to take time to grow, but that was a big step up from game 1 to game 2 for the two of them. And like Rob said, it was a bit more obvious who was the 6 and who was the 7 in that game. And I think that also helped. And I think that's a big part of having Lockie's role be simplified by Benji. And that helped the team gel. It helped the team click. And once they found their stride, they didn't look like they were going to stop anytime soon.
And just to be clear, by simplified, it's not reduced. It's just simplified. That's all it is. It's not that Lockie's taking a back seat or anything like that. It's just their roles were crystal clear. And, I'm sure Lockie was just told, run hard, pass. And everywhere you looked, Lockie was there. Even his line speed, I think Parramatta had a quick tap. And then the next tackle, you look up and Lockie's just in their face. First one leading the charge out of the back line in defence. He's just a machine. He's such a good player.
Righto, let's get another one from Jerome.
Not really, but I think that can be a strength of ours, and we're different, but that's a strength. Everyone's different, but if I can free him up, give him a bit of space, then you can see him go about his work. He played really well today.
Yeah, I mean, Jerome's very similar. Again, you've kind of nailed what he's talking about there. Let's go, Jerome, talking about the heat.
No, it wasn't hard at all. We love it. Was bred that way throughout Western Sydney, so grew up playing in those sort of conditions. So the way the weather is, it's no excuse. We've got a style to play, and that's our responsibility, is to do our job.
No excuses, Jerome says. And again, I mean, both teams have to play in the conditions.
Yeah, so they're playing in those conditions. They're also training generally in those conditions throughout summer. In saying that, it's probably a little bit different when you're training compared to being in a stadium surrounded by a big crowd of people who make it even warmer in there, and like sweat is obviously going to be a factor.
Screaming at them.
Screaming, yeah. It's all just a little bit, I guess, chaotic in a way, but players, like, they'll do their job. They're obviously going to say that it's not important or it doesn't matter or something like that, but sometimes you kind of just have to take it with a grain of salt, take what they say with a grain of salt. And in this case, I think the heat probably did play a factor, especially in that first 25 minutes.
Righto, moving on to player ratings. So keep an eye out. Thank you to everyone who did submit their ratings and their rants on Sunday evening on the Google form. So go to westtigers.com.au or keep an eye out on our socials for the link to submit yours on probably Saturday night after we finish the game. I usually post it about 5 minutes ago. It depends if the results. I think I posted this one about 10 minutes ago because
you were posting it with 11 minutes to go the other day.
You were checking.
And I was like, hang on, man. We could still do a few more things, but you had it right. You knew we weren't going to score again.
Had to get the algorithm going.
Yeah.
Righto, so ratings for this week, according to you, the average for these players: Dream Buller 8.9, Sunia Taruva 9.2, Adam Dwayne 7.8, Stafford Toa 8.1, Gerald Skelton 8.6, Lachlan Galvin 8.2, Jerome Luai 8.0 or 8.0 rather, 9.5 for Terrell May, Api Coruscant 8.0, Fanil Pole 7.2. How did Adele say Pole the other night?
Bolo. No, he said something different.
Yeah, he said something completely different.
I think he was having a Richo Luau moment.
You reckon?
I think he was having a moment. I could be wrong. I'll ask Adele when I speak to him next on Sunday.
Samuel Afenu, I'm stuffing him up. Samuel Afenu 6.9, Alex Sapar 7.2, Alex 12 6.4, TDS with 7.3, Royce Hunt, 7.9. Jack Bird, 7.6. And Sione Fainu, who only played... How many minutes did Fainu play?
15.
15?
Came on for Terrell May, finished the game.
For Sione. Guys, any of those numbers... Yeah, Rob, can you read those numbers?
I can see
here?
those loudly.
Those?
Yeah, they're beautiful, nice and bright and orange. So, look, I'll start with the bench, guys. I'm actually really disappointed with the numbers on the bench.
Maybe people got tired by the time they went down.
I love what Talon De Silva did. If Royce Hunt gives us that performance every week, he's a sensational buy. And Jack Bird was amazing. I know their minutes are reduced, so maybe the numbers are down because they don't play as big minutes. Well, maybe not so much in Jack Bird's case, but the other two didn't play large minutes. I had all those blokes at 9s and 8s, and those are in the 7.369s. So again, that they're the first things that stand out to me. I think the rest of it, I'm actually surprised by Jareem Buller. I know it's going to sound contradictory. I know he didn't get everything perfect in the game. Like obviously he dropped that ball over the line late in the game for the try. Jareem Buller was a 10. It's nothing less than a 10. He was absolutely sensational. He made a difference literally in all our tries that he was involved with. He was the one that was the main guy. He never dropped a bomb. He never missed a tackle. And again, not picking on Heath Mason, but if you look at Heath Mason from round 1 against Newcastle, Heath made 3 attempted tackles for 3 misses. So actually didn't make a tackle in the game. Jareem's made 7 out of 7 tackles, like none missed. And then Heath dropped a contested bomb, an uncontested bomb. Jareem didn't drop a bomb. Not putting shade on Heath, I'm just trying to say how good Jareem Buller is. But the rest of those numbers, I actually think anyone that was wearing from number 1 to number 6 and had the number 8 on their back could have been man of the match. Like there's literally 7 players there. And Fanua Bole was outstanding. I know he had a drop ball, but some of his footwork and his runs, they were really penetrating, not huge meters or anything, but just a good all-round game, guys. I actually found it would have been easy to find the less spectacular players than the spectacular players this week. That's probably the best performance I could, best praise I can give the team. Aaron?
Yeah, I think the one that stands out to me being a little bit low as well is Samuel Fainu. Yeah, he didn't really get his hands on the ball much early doors, but he kind of warmed up into the game. Obviously, he hasn't quite hit the straps that we saw him hit last year, but he did set up a try for one of Taruva's tries. He was the setup for with the try assist for one of Taruva's tries, and I think a little bit
the last
understated there. Royce Hunt, I reckon, deserves an extra point, like full point. Alone just for that chase down in the last minute. Like that's an insane play that late in the game.
But all
in
these
those
runs
conditions.
were great too, Aaron.
Yeah,
Every run was off the back fence and they were penetrating runs. It took 2 or 3 blokes to tackle him. It was first class. Like it was top shelf stuff from Royce Hunt. And we got a few more minutes out of him as well, so it's really, really good signs for him to have 2 good games in a row. Granted, the Newcastle game, he didn't have to play huge minutes. It was like 30 minutes all up. But, Royce Hunt, man, if we get that every week, happy days.
Yeah, absolute bargain buy. Like, really. I remember the Tigers fans in my area of the ground, the first kickoff after we scored that first try of the second half, we all were kind of booting him up, saying, "Come on, Royce, big run off the back fence," and he did it, and we all went kind of ballistic about that too. Like it was just great vibes from the Tigers fans in the northern part of the stand, and I was really happy to see like the output and, like I said, the chase on that to prevent the offload from Lomax if he was able to get one away. But I mean, that's the sort of effort you want to see from your players. 32-0 up and a chance to keep the clean sheet. Obviously, we weren't able to do it, but we were down a player for those last few minutes. But yeah, massive effort from a big fella.
Our 5 new recruits, Josh, have been great against Newcastle and against Parramatta. And if I'm being brutally honest, the least impressive, yet he's still very good, is Jerome Luai. The one on the biggest pay packet, but he'll get there. And he's showing so much that he's so positive anyway. But like when you think of it, I think all those other guys have probably been 8s and 9s and 10s out of 10s in their performances. And Jerome's been, in my opinion, very good 7 out of 10 and still getting better and still showing if I was going on leadership qualities and what he's trying to show on the field, definitely closer to a 9 out of 10. But in actual performance, you look at it and you think, oh, he didn't really, step off the left foot or go through a break or, do too much. But he's actually doing quite a bit. But he's the least of our new recruits, and that's a great sign.
And the thing with Jerome, he's still trying to transition his game from a 6 who played 7 every now and then to the 7, the main man, and that's going to take some time. We still don't want him to lose the best parts of his game that he had while he was a 6, like his running game. That's still a really strong part of who he is. The improv kicking game. If there was nothing on for Cleary, he'd get the ball and he'd fashion something out of nothing. And he did that for the first try of the second half. And we don't want him to lose those parts of his game that made him the player that he is.
He did that in the first half too.
Yeah,
he did that in the first half when they charged up on him on a kick, and we end up shuttling the ball out 2 or 3 passes, which resulted in Adam kicking the ball along the ground into the Parramatta right hand corner. If you remember in the first half, we kind of made a long break. So no, he's great. But I'm just trying to point out, like if Jerome's like the least sort of the least player that's standing out of our new crop, that's a good thing.
Righto, 3, 2, 1 vote time. So based on those averages, it was 3 for Terrell May, 2 for Sania Turiva, and 1 for Dream Buller. Who's your 3, 2, 1 this week?
Yeah, so I gave my 3 to Jareem. I thought he was absolutely sensational. First game back, he made a drop or two early doors in the first half, but I mean, most players did, and it was sloppy going. But once he warmed into the game, he really warmed into the game. And I thought was absolutely outstanding. Try assists, line break assists, very great performance, great runs out of trouble, which is something that we've struggled with for years. And like our wingers were the same. They were great out of our end from kick returns, but Jareem just kind of locking it all down at the back, straightening up our attack. A lot of the good plays came through him. I could not give him my 3. I gave my 2 to Terrell. Once again, the man is an absolute machine. 37-degree heat, and he played 65 minutes straight. The man, he just doesn't know the meaning of the word quit. And I'm really impressed with what we're seeing from him so far. Made a lot of tackles again. I think 30-something or 40-something tackles off the top of my head. Only missed 1. Sensational effort from him once again. And Lockie got my 1. I was really impressed with him. Obviously, his game being simplified opened him up a lot more, brought him back to what we saw from him at his best, or glimpses of what we saw from him at his best last year. And I think if he keeps that up, he'll do a lot more great things this year.
Rob?
Yeah, again, I went with Jareem Buller for man of the match. Unbelievable performance. It was like he'd already had 12 matches this year, and it was his first match. It was exactly the performance we needed. It was almost a grand final in March for us. There were so many players I could have given the 2 points to, but I gave it to Stafford Toa. We've always, I think we've recognised at our club, that we have problems in the centres, and I thought both our centres were magnificent on the weekend. And Stafford Toa, he really had spiders on him. I mean, I remember one run where he pushed off Dylan Brown twice. He made Penasini just look like a chump. But again, I could have given points to 6 or 7 players. And I gave the 1 to Terrell May. And really, everything starts in the engine room. And if I'm being fair dinkum, if the backs and forwards play the same, you should always give it to a forward. And I don't know if we win games without Terrell May being in that team. I mentioned it last week. So I gave him 1. Again, I'm Lockie Galvin biased. I could easily have given him 3 points. I thought that was Adam Dewey's best game since the Canberra game at Campbelltown last year. The wingers, and I know Aaron wants to talk about that later in Stats Man. The wingers made huge meters. Taruva's had a hat-trick. Skelton scored a try, and then his whole body scored a try except the ball for a no try. We're just got a lot of good players in our team at the moment. So it was a really, really difficult decision to give points to. And it's just such a pleasure to be having difficulty to find a 3-2-1 in a winning team as opposed to trying to find a 3-2-1 when when we've lost 9 games in a row. But so, yeah, very, very happy with the team. And so many players should be proud of their performances. The whole team should be proud.
Righto, so after 2 rounds, Terrell May is out on 12 points. I think he got the most Daily M votes too in this game as well. Again, I think he got a couple last week, so he's doing pretty well. on both the official voting and ours. Dream Buller zooms into second with 7. Skelton has 6. That was from last week, I think. Did you guys give Skelton any just then?
I didn't, and that's what I'm saying. Like, how can you not give Skelton? Look at it. Look at Skelton's numbers: 184 meters, 1 offload, 1 line break, 1 tackle, 1 miss. Taruva, 170 meters, 3 tries, 2 line breaks, 6 tackles, 2 missed. He diffused.
Isn't that stats, man? For this week?
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm just trying to say, like, what
Stole my thunder.
Yeah, you can read them out later. That's fine.
Talk about it again.
Taruva. The only ball Taruva dropped was when he got taken out of play illegally in the first minute of the game. He was trying to contest a bomb and they knocked him over before he got a chance to touch. I'm just saying, like, there's so many good players in that team. But yeah, you have to sort of eventually make a stand. And maybe I chose Toa because he doesn't always have good games, and it was a good opportunity to give him points. I'm sure I gave Skelton points last week.
Righto, moving on. Oh, I didn't say the rest of them. So Twali, Star, and Sunia on 2, Funua and Lockie on 1. And there's no reason why Lockie might have it. Yeah, I think it's just going to be one of those years where we're sharing the points around.
I have to cover for Lockie Galvin bias because I am absolutely. I think the world of this bloke, and I would give him 3 points. He had a hand in every try. Like he's involved in everything. But again, I'm just trying to try and be a little bit more objective with everything. But I will say that try he scored on half time, I will be putting the theme from Rocky on there on the video, and I'm calling it Lockie Balboa. Okay, and I'll be playing, and I will be playing that when I'm on the treadmill working out, and I'll promise I'll bat out an extra half hour.
Righto. Comment rant times from David. Parramatta effing shit. Instead of rumours of Galvin going there, maybe they should start talking about some of their turd players going elsewhere. F off journos, you Pelicans. We deserve that win. We earned that win. Got to back it up now. Finally, some strike in the wings and a fullback who looks comfortable in his game. If Terrell May wants his nan to play as well for the Tigers, then sign her, because we need to protect that man at all costs. Up the mighty Tigers. He was definitely feeling himself there. David, Brendan said, great game, but not give a penalty away with less than, which I didn't notice this, not to give a penalty. Well, plenty of 6 agains. Less than a minute to go was our first penalty against us. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
The penalties were, I've got them here somewhere. The penalties were 8-6 to Parramatta.
Okay. Oh, Brendan, you're wrong. Sam, not to be a downer, but the individual performances were so good that it kind of overshadowed the lack of strategy, game plan, and tact today. Perhaps as guys develop chemistry, it'd be much easier to plan and execute to put points on the board later in the season. In hindsight, while it was frustrating for the boys, hard effort to finish with a try conceded, but really hoping it leads to a hunger, desire for improvement over the next few weeks, and not just settling with, we had a clean sheet against a wooden spoon contender. That's good enough. That same said, hunger, desire will go a long way to rivaling against the more renowned, better teams in the league. Zach said, most important thing to come out of this game was the claw. Great to see the new signings already having an impact on the culture. And getting on to our 2 winners for $20 voucher at the Orange Grove Hotel. Josh
Dara.
Thank you. Can't help but feel a little optimistic seeing growth with the combinations improving this week, but still get nervous about bounce back failure. I celebrate the win for what it is and hope they lift again next week. Outstanding efforts from May, Hunt, Bird, and the 2 wingers. Toa did a great job in defence as an honourable mention. The presence of Appy and Buller is huge. Fingers crossed they don't just concede that it's easy each week, or we'll find ourselves right back where we were the last few years. It's a good week after a win, even better after beating Parramatta in Benji. We trust.
Before you get rid of that off the screen, I just want to say, I'm not allowed to say who, but I can tell you that one of those names on the screen listened to the podcast of Adele and myself on Sunday night and was very happy.
Listen to the whole thing.
A very significant member of our team.
He listened. I know who it is. I won't say it. Did he listen? He actually listened.
I'm just going off the text message I got.
Right. Okay. Shouts to
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm out of
shouts
the
to
loop
Josh
with this
Fellerty. It took you a second. Derek Derrickson is our other winner. He's written a poem. I didn't realize is this a poem? Is it?
Well, even his name rhymes.
Derek Derrickson. Yeah.
It's Fui Fui Moi Moi-esque.
All right, I'm going to because it's a poem. I'll try and get the melody right here. The Tigers roared, the Eels fell flat. A win like this, remember that. Galvin sharp on the edge, so bright. Fed the West Tigers news and steered them right. Skelton soared, Tito flew, left the Eels with much to rue. But May he led the way. Ran so hard all damn day. Parrot broken, Tigers rise, glory shining in their eyes. A winter saver, strong and true. Wests are coming. What's due?
I expect a poem like that every week.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
That was fantastic. I could not give that. I couldn't not give that the win. That was sensational.
So Derek Derrickson, if that is your real name, slide into the DMs. Same with Josh Josh Dara. Slide into my DMs, and I'll give you the details on how to claim your $20 voucher for the Orange Grove Hotel, which tonight will get you a burger for $18 as well. So be sure to come in, and why not come in on Wednesday night or on a game day when us three gentlemen will be here. Speaking of which, righto, on to let's put Para behind us and move on to the Dolphins of no name.
The Dolphins.
The Dolphins of the.
I hate that they have no location.
Is it the Dolphins or is it Dolphins?
I think just Dolphins.
It's
the
Dolphins.
It's like Madonna.
I guess so. Sure. Yeah.
Maybe I should have said Kylie O.
Kylie O.
Kyle O. Sorry, that we keep him on O this week. We'll keep him on 0. That's right. Bad joke. Relax.
Yeah. No,
Next.
Move on. Over my head. 5:30 on Saturday. Join us here at the Orange Grove Hotel. We'll be here. We'll have the mics on. Nice and loud on the big screen, and come join us. So hopefully, really pack it out. Being a 5:30 Saturday night. Sunday although, being a school night, it's a bit. Even though in the video we look like drunken idiots, I was on the Pepsi Maxes, but a Saturday night, if we get a win, man, it's going to be raging.
Well, we want to set it up so whoever wants to come and watch it with us, the camera will be set up on you guys as well while we're talking about the game. If you want to be a part of it, but it'd just be nice to have a really good atmosphere and fill this Orange Grove with West Tigers supporters and 100%. Cheer the boys on.
There's definitely not going to be the Dolphins fans. So, right, run us through the back lines for this game.
All right, so for the Tigers first, Jareem Buller is named at fullback, Sinir Taruva and Jarrell Skelton on the wings, Adam Dewey and Stafford Toa in the centres, Lockie Galvin and Jerome Luai in the halves. For the Dolphins, Hamiso Tabuai Fido is the fullback, Jermaine Azarko and Junior Tupou, ex-Tiger, are the wingers, Jake Avarillo and Herbie Farnworth are the centres, with Cody Nikarima and Isaiah Katoa in the halves.
Okay. Rob, what's the matchup you're kind of maybe not concerned or keen for? What are you thinking here on the back lines?
The matchup I'd be worried about, even though, and I agree with Adele that the hammer, Tabuai Fido, is the indicator to what the Dolphins do, and he can create something out of nothing too, which bothers me. The matchup I'm worried about is Farnworth. Look, the Dolphins do have a tendency to swap their centres from side to side depending on different weeks, but I believe Farnworth will be on the right, which means he's opposite Adam, and he's a very strong centre, one that I rate highly. So it's probably him and Avarillo. They're the two that I worry about. They're desperate. They've kind of been weird to watch. They just don't look like, for want of a better term, they look like they just don't give a crap at the moment. And I just hope that continues. They've lost their first 2 games, but again, having their first game in front of their home crowd, we saw in their very first game when they came into the comp, they thrashed the Roosters. So, we've got to be prepared for an ambush. And, Adele mentioned on Sunday night as well, we've got to watch out for Jeremy Marshall-King. He believes everything starts from that area. I'll throw it to you, Aaron, while I get Adele's tip sheet, because I will read out what he said to look out for.
Yeah, so the backs, obviously Hammer is the most dangerous one to me. influential to their attack. I'd say more so than Nikorima and Katoa, and he's just got speed, which I don't think anyone in our team would be able to catch up to him. Lockie, maybe if he turned on the afterburners, considering his Bronco time, but Hamiso, there's just a lot of danger there. He's burnt us every time we've played the Dolphins so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did it again, but I think that's probably my main concern is just what he adds to their team.
The good thing is about our lineup, 1 to 7. Baller, we don't know. We haven't.
That's huge.
The club's keeping it really under wraps. It was in a moon boot after it. It might have been precautionary. We haven't heard a single thing. So Benji's keeping that close to his chest. So fingers crossed. We're running out 1 to 17 exactly the same.
Mason is on the extended bench, as is Staines.
He was last week too, I think, wasn't he?
Well, I guess we'll have a better idea by Friday night.
I think Staines was even in the... Was he 18th or 19th man last week?
Latu, wasn't it?
Latu was 18, I think.
No, Staines was 18 in round 2. Latu was 18 in round 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, all right. Let's move on to the forwards, please, Mr. Thompson.
So our props are Terrell May and Fanua Pole. Api Coruscant is at hooker. Samuel Afenu and Alex Seyfarth are the second rowers with Alex Twal at lock. For the Dolphins, Daniel Saifidi and Felice Kafusi are the props with Jeremy Marshall-King at hooker. Oren Keeley and Max Plath are the second rowers with Tom Gilbert at lock.
Oren. Never heard of the name Oren before. There's also an Aaron, isn't there, in the NRL at the moment? An Aaron, I see.
Aaron Clark?
Yeah, Aaron Clark, yeah.
Titans still, unless he's moved?
Yeah.
You're channeling your inner Vossi, aren't you?
What's that?
Stuff we may have missed.
Stuff we may... just names, I don't know, these kids...
These random facts that have nothing to do with our West Side.
No.
While you're unable
I see details that
while you're unable to pronounce them, you're just like picking up on the random shit.
Yeah. I haven't found anyone that might be a relative. Well, obviously Jerry Marshall-King is half brother of Benji Marshall. So, the 4-pack. Rob, what are your thoughts?
I kind of like how we match up against them this week in the forwards, and I would expect a massive game from our courageous captain, Api Coruscant. I think it's the sort of game designed for him. He could really do a number on them up the middle and really make some of our forwards look good. And obviously, if Api has a massive game, that means Terrell May is going to have a big game. So that's what I'd be looking to. I hope that bench is the same. I hope Jack Bird was just a precautionary thing with the ice on the knee. I hope he's there because he's a great runner and he's probably a big shout for a meat pie this week. But look, I like our chances, which bothers me because I'll never tip us again after we won last week. That's just, that's confirmed. But if I was to be objective, I think we've got a really good chance this week, even though the Dolphins have had an extra 48 hours rest.
Let's move on to the bench. And again, to have I don't think we have any other injuries. Buller's the only one really in a cloud injury-wise, isn't he?
He's got the moon boot on, so that's not a good look.
Yeah, but I don't think all our forwards should be ready to go. It was obviously a 6.6-day turnaround. Will be a bit tough for those big boppers, but fingers crossed they got the ice baths and are all good, ready to go.
That is my main concern going into this game is how the team back up from playing in 37 degrees to this game. The Dolphins obviously played on Friday, so they've got an 8-day, or actually, no, they were Thursday last week. So they got a 9-day turnaround going into this game, and it was Thursday night. They were playing in 37 degrees like we were. So if the club's done recovery right, I think that's probably the main thing for us. But for me, the Dolphins forward pack is where their weaknesses have been so far this year. They haven't quite got the value out of their forwards that they'd want to, especially, in my opinion, the second rowers, where I think they've been a little bit light on.
That's criminal. Like, that's 72 hours extra rest. That's a joke.
Yeah, but how do you solve it?
All right, but you do it like within a day or two of each other, not 3 freaking full days.
Yeah.
That's anyway.
That happens. I don't know. You got to put games.
Either that or our game becomes the Sunday game sort of thing, and we get a full week and they get 10 days.
But if they get them getting, as long as we get enough rest, and I don't know if 6 days is enough.
It's 6 days plus travel as well, like included in that.
Yeah. Okay.
We're still recovering.
Yeah, we are.
Run us through the benches for both teams.
So the Tigers bench is Talon De Silva, Royce Hunt, Jack Bird, and Sione Fainu. The Dolphins bench is Kurt Donahue, Josh Kerr, Mark Nichols, and Ray Stone. 18th men for Latu Fainu and Sean O'Sullivan. Our reserves are Heath Mason, Charlie Staines, Tony Suka, and Solomona Fa'atape. For the Dolphins, it's Max Fine, Kenny Bromwich, Jack Bostock, and Kulikefu Finafuiaki.
Nice work. Well done on some of those names there.
George Danikian at his best.
Talon, do you think maybe Talon gets more minutes? We're talking about the quick turnaround. Do you think Appy's old legs might get a bit more?
No, I don't think so. I think Benji's intent on winning, and he'll just do whatever needs to be done. He'll take Appy off. What did he do? Like 32 minutes, I think he came off on Sunday. So he'll do that. And I don't think much changes really. I just hope we come out and look. The benches match up pretty similar to each other, but I think our bench was in great form on Sunday. So if we keep up that form, we might have a slight edge. Although they've got a couple of blokes off the bench that can score a try as well. It's going to be a really tough game to win. They're desperate, and I still think we're desperate, even though we won last week. We've got so much to prove this year, and it'd be nice to get ahead of the curve. And we've got a winnable game against the Warriors the week after, and then we come into probably a rough stretch where we start to play teams like the Broncos and guys that are expected to do better this year on the ladder than us.
Yeah, it's an 8-day because we're Sunday night against the Whales, aren't we, next week? So an 8-day rest at least between this one and the next one, which will help. So I guess go hard and recover.
Now I'll just read out that tip sheet, Josh, before we move on to anything else. So this is Coach Adele's tip sheet that he hasn't quite edited properly, but I'll give him heaps about that later. From our team, the key is to start well, must complete over 90% of our sets in the first 20 minutes. No penalties out of yardage for the Dolphins. Slow the ruck down inside 10 metres, give away set restarts on tackle 1 if need be, minimum 50% possession share. In terms of attack, good ball shape, attack Plath, Nicarima and Avarillo, lead shape Avarillo, yardage kicking deep to Tupu, want Hammer or Avarillo carrying on tackle 2. Tackle 5, kick needs to land on half, not to wingers. So Galvin and Samuel are targets on both sides. In terms of defence, markers have to keep an eye on Jeremy Marshall-King. Don't release until ball goes. No dummies on Katoa. Kick pressure tackle 5, good ball. Centres escort both Tupu and Asako. Jarrell win the contest. Dewey get high and early when Farnworth gets early ball, because Farnworth, once he gets going, he's an absolute beast. He's a great centre. And attack his inside hip aggressively. So that sounds very... Who
are the officials this week? Who have we got? Do you know off the top of your head?
I can actually pull it up.
You did mention it, didn't you?
Yeah, I sent a picture in the Discord. So we've got Peter Goff is our referee and Grant Atkins is in the bunker. I don't remember off the top of my head who the touchies are, but I shared it in the Discord.
Speaking of touchies, the forward pass, I know I'm going back to Sunday, the forward pass from Dylan Brown to the wide receiver for the Parramatta Eels.
That's one of the worst ever.
That is so NFL. And what shits me the most is the touch shot was in line and unobstructed.
What was it called?
I watched the replay.
How did they take that off?
They took it off for an obstruction on Adam.
I reckon,
yeah, but thank God they took it off. I was blowing a gasket here while we were watching it. I just couldn't believe it. Like, it was so far forward. It's probably the most forward pass I've seen in years.
Right, just going through our tips for all 8 games this week. Melbourne, we've all gone Storm. Penrith Panthers are over $3 for this game. This is crazy.
They don't lose 2 in a row much, do they?
It's just, when have the Penrith Panthers last been $3 with Cleary's playing, yeah?
Cleary's playing, but Dylan Edwards is out.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, we've both gone Storm.
Dan Laurie is no slouch as a replacement.
No, look, he has been good under the high ball for Penrith. He wasn't good for us under the high ball. So I'm sure he'll get a good test, especially with the tall timber there.
His problem for us when under the high ball was he'd often jump and try to take it in the air and on the run, jumping on the run and trying to take it in the air, and it just never worked out because it always bounced off his chest and away from him, and he just gives away another set. So
I don't think Storm are missing anyone except Warbrick, and he's replaced by Grant Anderson, who's another tall piece of timber on the wing.
Dane Laurie is at fullback for them. Righto, it's a very hard tipping round, I think.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty easy one.
I'm not as smart as you. Warwick, we've all gone Roosters.
Out of 16.
Yeah, if this game had been last week, I probably would tip the Wires at home, but the Wires could come back and the Roosters could shit the bed this week and go the other way. We've all gone Roosters.
It's a really hard one because watching both games last week, I thought the Warriors could have been down 18-0 quite easily before they clicked into gear and played really well. And as for the Roosters, I mentioned it in our live broadcast on Sunday, their first 3 tries came off sets after drop bombs from the Penrith Panthers. McLean, I think, dropped 2 bombs. Dylan Edwards dropped a bomb, and then the Roosters scored from the next sets. Otherwise, they didn't look like they were going to score. Tough game. Hard to tip against the Warriors, but hopefully I've mocked the Roosters as well because they're my most hated team in the world.
The Roosters?
I hate the Roosters. You don't have me reading Discord, Josh.
I can't.
I have. Yeah. I ranked the most hated teams from 1 to 16 because obviously I love the Tigers.
Busy man.
And I had the Roosters from 1 to 16.
I do remember reading that.
I did my rankings.
Did you?
Yeah, I did mine.
I didn't do mine.
At number 1.
I didn't do mine. Maybe I should. Maybe I should do
nice.
most hated
enough.
team. Well, I don't hate all the teams. I like some of them. I can tolerate others, but there are some I can't stand.
Did we all go Roosters?
We all went Roosters. Yeah. This game's a tricky one for me in the way that I could ask the same question about both of these two teams. They've both had the same start to the season. Horrible blowout loss in round 1. Spectacular win against the odds in round 2. And so the question for both would be, is what they did in round 2 sustainable, or is it a flash in the pan? And I think we might see this week, which is the case for both teams.
Broncos, Cowboys. Broncos, heavy favourites. We've all gone the Bronx in this one. Cowboys. Could Todd Payten lose his job this year?
Highly doubt it that he'll lose his job, although I don't expect much from the Cowboys. They have got Nanai back in the team. I don't understand why he got dropped. He's one of their try-scoring threats. I guess it was more to try and wake him up a little bit or get him into shape. Just on this game, guys, while we're doing it, I'll give you Rob Stradamus while we're doing this game to save a bit of time. I think if Reece Walsh and Arthurs don't score a try, don't have another bet for the rest of the year. I think those two are a lock for a same game multi.
Less than 2 to 1.
Doesn't matter. Like, you put them together and you can multi it with some other things or whatever you want. But yeah, put them two together in a same game multi, I think. And add a few more Brisbane try scorers to that as well. I think you'll have a nice payday.
I said it was a hard round to tip. There's a lot of big
close games are coming up.
Yeah. Oh, we're not this one.
Towards the back end of the round.
South of $5 against the Sharkies. We've all gone Sharkies in this one.
I've missed the boat on that. What's going on with the Cronulla teams meant to have been ravaged with illness or something?
I haven't heard anything about that.
I just saw a bit of tonight. Apparently,
the Sharks
have got a lot of, I don't know,
bit of diarrhea
flu going around, or I don't know, delayed jet lag from Vegas. I don't know what's going on, but
delayed jet lag.
But that to me is an absolute shoe-in for Cronulla if they're healthy.
It's their first game at home too.
Speaking of getting the runs, Cronulla, not your favourite place in the world, Shark Park has. We haven't all gone the Tigers. The trader in the middle here has gone the Fins.
I'm doing that out of love. No other reason. Emotional hedging.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The betting's pretty much swung towards the Dolphins a little bit.
I tell you what about the odds though. For our game, I did have a look at the preliminary odds once they came out before the round 2 games had started. The Dolphins we were underdogs at about 250, 260-ish.
Yeah, I'm coming.
After the Dolphins got beat, we came into about 220, 210. After we won, we temporarily came into favoritism, and then I think it might have been the potential Buller injury news that was floating around that sort of swung it back in favour of the Dolphins.
Well, one betting agency's got the Dolphins at $1.84 and we're $2 on one of the agencies. I won't mention their name.
Yeah, unless they want to sponsor us. Gold Coast and Knights, that is bang on even money there. Who have we gone? Az and I gone Titans. You've gone I literally couldn't.
I'm not going to tip against the Knights until Kalen Ponga calms down. Because he's playing great football at the moment. I give Gold Coast a big shout of winning, but as long as the Knights, as long as Kalen Pong is doing what he's doing, I'm not tipping against him.
He's playing very well.
He's playing lights out.
I'm just going home field advantage on this one.
Yeah, that's why I did it.
Their first home game, obviously not playing round one, having a bit of an unfortunate loss in round two, but they did put on some points, and the Knights is a team that can concede some points. Obviously, I think they're second best defensive team at the moment, but they can concede some points.
Who's the best?
We'll get to that shortly.
Well, whoever's playing Supercoach against me this week, I'm putting Kalen Ponga as captain.
I just think the Titans will get up in front of their fans for this one.
Speaking of fans that I despise, Parramatta and Bulldogs playing each other. $3 for Parramatta. Yeah,
I'm surprised they're not worse odds.
Yeah, I guess they're playing at home, but that didn't help them last week.
Can't tip against Canterbury, even though they're missing Kikau and Burton. But I'll stick with Canterbury till they lose.
Yeah, I'm going to tip against Parramatta every week until they win and give me a reason to tip them.
Big rivalry. Obviously, in the 80s, they were like the two teams, weren't they? Rob, the Dogs and Eels go a long way back. So it's
well, they played in a couple of grand finals in a row. I'm trying to think what years, 84, 85. No, 84, 85, 84 and 86, I think.
So, yeah, probably a big crowd heading out to Parramatta. Manly are at home to the Raiders. I've gone Manly, as gone Manly as well. Rob, you've zagged. And to be honest, I was tempted to go Canberra. They're playing well.
There's talk that Turbo might not play, Tom Trebojevic.
I'll change my tip.
So I'm not sure.
I'll be changing if Tom gets
well. And is Cherry Evans playing? Or
there's question marks about both of them, but they've both been named.
And I don't think I just want to single out one player. Sebastian Chris is just, that he's got like Stafford Toa vibes going on about him. He's playing really well. I don't know. I just think they've got a lot of confidence, but Manly is very hard to beat at rookie.
Yeah, look what they did to the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago before they took the foot off the pedal.
Put $1 million on them, but look,
what if it's called Chris Sebastian?
I've got some making up to do on the tipping comp, so I'm happy to go the opposite.
Yeah,
team
you've got a little.
I'm either going to be 6 or 7 down, or I'm going to be caught up to you by next week.
Just a fun fact about my score in the tipping so far. So after 2 rounds last year, I had 8 points. That was because I got 1 in round 1 and 7 in round 2. And this year I'm on 8 points. I've got 4 and 4. I would have actually had a better round or better score at this point this year if I hadn't changed my tip from the Rabbits to the Dragons last week. Because when we did the show last week, when we went through the tips, I had tipped the Rabbits. And then I learned that Whiten and another player had been ruled out, and I changed my tip, and I'm very, very angry at myself about it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think to mention I'm on 9, you're on 8, and Rob's on 5. There you go.
The cream will eventually rise to the top, boys. You know that.
Righto, going around to other grades. So New South Wales Cup, the Maggies went down 34-10 to the Waz. In Camden. They played at Camden last week. They can't be right. It's playing Lidcombe. Did I get that wrong?
No idea.
Doesn't seem right. Look that up for me.
No, I think that's right because...
Why didn't they play in Lidcombe?
Round 1.
They might have some junior stuff.
Yeah, they played at Lidcombe in round 1 on my birthday, on the 8th.
Yeah.
That was round 1.
I don't know if I got the score wrong. Just look up the score for me for New South Wales Cup last weekend. Surely they didn't play. I must have got the wrong grade. Yeah, but they're playing Parramatta. No, they're not. They can't be playing. They're not playing Parramatta this week, are they?
I
think I've not updated.
Yeah, you might have used the. Where are we? That's
Harold Matts. I'll go to Harold Matts while you
20-10. 20-10 against Para.
They lost to Para, right? And who do they play this week.
North Sydney at Lidcombe.
Right. The Jason Taylor Cup, of course, 2 p.m. on Saturday. Right. Harold Matts, Magpies lost to the Wars. Balmain Tigers had the bye. Tigers have the Wars this week at Leichhardt, and Maggies have Parramatta this week at Lidcombe Oval. SG Ball. The Maggies got up over the Wars, 22-18. They play Para this week as well. Balmain got up over the Doggies, 30-22 this week. I've stuffed that one up as well. I assume they're playing the Wars as well, possibly. Table-wise, SG Ball, Balmain are in 4th. Magpies are in 9th. In Harold Matts, where are we? The 12th and 13th, Balmain and Magpies are there. But so SG Ball looking pretty good. Tigers top 4, Maggies, is it a top 5?
6, I think.
6?
5 or 6.
The Maggies might get in there. Imagine if we got both teams in there. That'd be cool. In the girls, Tasha Gale, they had both Tasha Gale and Lisa Fiola had buys last week. They got Para.
Wasn't that 2 weeks ago?
I don't know. I think the draw. This wasn't my fault. This one, the draw had a 2-week gap between 2 rounds. I'm hoping you'd know the reason for that.
So round 5, Dragons on the 1st of March. Okay, yeah. So round 6 was a while back.
Was it cancelled for the Heat? Did they cancel a game?
I don't think so.
This is New South Wales.
Maybe they have, because round 7 is wrong. Round 7. Round 5 was Saturday the 1st of March. Round 6 was our bye. Round 7 Sunday the 23rd of March. So there's definitely a couple weeks in there.
Yeah, they've stuffed out that one, not me. The MacArthur Comps Laurie Daly Cup. MacArthur Tigers lost 44-6 to the Dogs, but in Andrew Johns Cup they carved up the Dogs 48-24. They're playing, I believe, in a semi-final in Andrew Johns Cup against the Knights.
Sure competition then if it's semi-finals already.
Yeah, it's only like a pretty quick comp, top 4, I believe. So good luck to Andrew Johns Cup they're playing at Cessnock Showgrounds against the Knights, and the Tigers are playing, surely not the Bulldogs again, but it is different dates. They're playing the Bulldogs again. They must play an extra game if they don't make the finals or something in a matchup. But that's what it said. Statsman, what are you off for us?
So before I get into like Rob mentioned, I've got some stats on the wingers. But before I get into that, 2 little fun facts for us. So the first one, we are the best defensive team in the comp at the moment, as was alluded to earlier. We've conceded 16 points in our 2 games. And the last time this happened, or the last time we were the best defensive team in the comp after 2 rounds was 2018, where we had also conceded 16 points in 2 games. We had only scored 20 on that occasion compared to the 40 on this time, though. And that was after 2 wins against the eventual grand finalists in the first 2 rounds, both at a score of 10-8 over the Roosters and the Storm. As for Sania Taruva's hat-trick on the weekend, it's the first Tigers hat-trick since David Nofaluma back in round 17 of 2020, which was the game in Manly with a remarkable second-half comeback in which many may remember the Adam Dewey
goal kick. Pledged.
The compensate. Which will live in my memory for all of eternity.
Did Josh Reynolds play in that one?
Was
it further back?
No.
It'd be about the same time frame.
I remember Josh Reynolds at Brookvale getting a win.
He debuted for us against Manly in 2018.
That might be the game I'm thinking
I had to check that Aaron's fingers weren't crossed when he said we're the best defensive team in the comp. That was nice to hear.
It's also more impressive considering the fact that the Storm have only played 1 game and they've conceded 18.
Okay.
We've conceded 16 in 2.
That's a good point.
You compare that to the worst defensive team at the moment, which is Parramatta, who
so we're
conceded
twice as good.
And they conceded 18 against Para.
Yeah, they conceded 18 against
We
Parramatta.
conceded 6.
Granted, in their defence, they took a few of their players off and probably took the foot off the throat, which I don't think Bellamy would have been too happy with. But, I mean, when you're comparing teams that have played different amounts of games, the best way to do that is by averages. So we've conceded an average of 8 points per game. They've conceded an average of 16 points per game or 18 points per game. So screw you, Melbourne.
My head is screwed after all those numbers. But, yeah, so Rob kind of stole your stat of the week. Az, do you want to run us through it?
Yeah, so I was really impressed, and I don't think it's getting talked about enough just how good our wingers are for us so far. Obviously, the most talked about signings for obvious reasons are Luai and May. But looking at what these two guys did out of trouble for us on the weekend, I think really underrated. So between Skelton and Taruva, they scored 4 tries. They made 38 runs for 372 metres with 104 post-contact metres. They made 9 tackle breaks and 3 line breaks between them. And just the ability to do what they did is something that we've been missing a lot. So unheralded signings that are under the radar signings, I think, a little bit. So a great piece of work by Benji, Richo, and the rest of the front office who took the lead on getting these 2 deals done.
Helps when you get to Taruva the ball too, doesn't it?
I said that to you guys in the chat during halftime. I said, see what happens when we go right.
He was starved in round 1, like no backline shape. He was only doing yardage carries.
Patreon.com/Westlife. If you'd like to support the show, join us in the Discord. Like I said, plenty of good chat going on. Talking about who we hate today, talking about barbecue chickens, all sorts of...
Yeah, you need a poultry
NBA. Yeah, well, I can make... You want a channel? I'll make it for you. All sorts of sports we talk about. But, yeah, support the show just for a few bucks a month. Literally, what's that per day? 10 cents per day. As of you... You're just looking in the Discord now. What have the guys got for us this week? You also get a rant on the show if you drop it in the right channel, in the weekly rant channel on there.
So just Ben Ellis tonight. For every show from now on, could you please use Joe Hendry's entrance music when introducing Rob by replacing Joe Hendry's name with Rob's?
Is that a wrestler?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the reference.
Do you get it? No.
I'm happy to come into Lockie Balboa music. That's all I want. Lockie Balboa.
That's the same try every time.
That same try. Struts in.
Do you know what that song's called?
Refresh my name.
Gonna Fly Now.
That's it.
So yeah, thanks to all you legends in the Discord. You're all up on the screen there.
3-hour show. Woohoo!
No, under 2.
Joking,
We stuck under 2. Under 2. It's a win. So next episode, as Noons called it earlier in the show in the comments, he said the Adele show is a value add to the West Tigers Life podcast. And definitely I sit there most of the time listening. I listened back to it again this week, not just to clip it for the socials, but it's a really good listen. And yeah, Adele, the way he breaks down the game, it's a bit of fun.
He's amazing.
3 gibberers on a Wednesday night, having a bit of fun with everything. But it's if you want...
he does the heavy lifting. His take is so different to a fan's take. Well, he's a fan, but he's also a coach. So it's very, very popular. And thanks to all the people that have given us, great feedback on Adele. And I've been passing that those well wishes and feedback back to Adele as well.
Yeah, good on you, Adele. But yeah, I thought we might go over 2 hours, but we stuck in. We're at the a minute 50 mark.
Remember, it means nothing winning last Sunday unless people come and watch with us on Saturday at 5:30. Come and join us
in Leichhardt.
Great food here, great drinks, great atmosphere, nice big screen to watch, and you get to watch us go off like lunatics when we
be a lunatic with us. We're all lunatics.
Yeah, come and sit with us.
Come be a lunatic with us.
You'll enjoy the game. Plenty of parking here.
The parking. Yeah, because you think when you do come here and it's not a game day, the parking's actually pretty good. Yeah. I usually only usually come here on a game day, but you come here on a Leichhardt game day.
Yeah, well, it's not a Leichhardt.
Every street in the surrounding area is packed. So we're parked right at the front for tonight, but hopefully much busier. Come join us here on Saturday night, 5:30 against the Finns. Anything else before we say goodnight to Big Dog?
I can't wait to go find some more Tigers content and listen to it on the way home. I'm actually going to go listen to a couple of other podcasts as well.
That's for our friends.
Yeah, so would you want to give them a shout out or not?
No.
Okay, we won't give them a shout out, but yeah.
Just well wishes.
Just well wishes.
They know who they are.
Okay, well, you know who you are, guys. We'll be looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the game. So anytime we win, I like to hear the content. When we lose, I don't want to hear anyone.
We'll catch up with them next week. The Wires game too. As anything?
I think the important thing is obviously with the team and the performance on the weekend, it doesn't mean too much if they don't back it up this weekend. So, but I think with the team we've got now, with the signings we've made, our chances of not falling into that sort of complacency are nowhere near as high as they used to be. So I'm really looking forward to this game. A bit of renewed optimism and hope for the rest of the season after what was a fairly dodgy round one performance. So yeah, bring on Saturday 5:30. Looking forward to it. I'll be here going off like a madman with the other two boys, and hope to see some more people here. And looking forward to listening to Adele later in the week after the game as well.
Yep. All right. Yep. Thank you to everyone at the OG tonight, and thank you to everyone who listened on the stream. Apologies again for my stupidity having the wrong mic again. You think I'd learn after 5-6 years which mic to have going through the stream, but
we'll just have to remind you next week. Make sure you've turned the mic off on your phone.
Over the head if with the microphone. With the mic, yeah, whatever. grab a stool or something. But, all right, as always,
chair in a cage match.
Go the West Tigers.
Go the West Tigers.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the West Tigers Life podcast. You can join us every Wednesday night live at 8:30 p.m. from the Orange Grove Hotel. A big thank you to Orange Grove Hotel for their support, as well as iChoice Home Loans. If you want to hear more from the West Tigers Life podcast, go to westtigers.com.au. That'll be our link tree, and you'll find links to all our social media, and you can sign up at our Patreon at patreon.com/Westlife. Join us next time on West Tigers Life.